Now, there's a difference between knowing something from your gut and knowing something from the tips of your toes. Knowing something from your gut is a reaction. It's emotion. And some people will say, I know the world isn't worth shit. It's all a mess. Well, that's not a knowing. That's a head trip associated with emotion. Knowing is when you feel the truth of a thing, and in the experience of the truth of a thing, you know that there truly isn't anything conflicted about it. You recognize the freedom inherent in it. You recognize the integrity inherent in it. And you recognize that everything that would arise out of it must bless everyone because, since it's unconflicted, it's pure love. Its nature is pure love. So, don't try to change the world, but do let yourself be changed by what you find yourself knowing, even if what you find yourself knowing flies directly in the face of everything you've been taught. Okay.
Thank you, Raj.
You are welcome. Hands. Right here in the front.
I've got a couple of questions, and the first one is, first off, hello, thank you. My question is, like, at what point, like, I'm getting into this letting go and letting God, but at what point, like, how do you at what level do you participate as a human in that process of letting go and letting God? Like, do you sit there and just let the whole world just happen as it happens, or do you have to work at keeping your marriage alive? Do you have to work at making money come in? Or if you just trust that it's all going to happen, and that's it? Or, I'm really confused. I've been thinking about that since I started listening to your tapes a couple of weeks ago, and that question just keeps coming back again and again and again. And I know one tape I was listening to, you called it, it's not listenings with God, it's conversations with God. So I started this whole process of talking to my God, and all I get back is, well, what do you think? So that's where I'm at. So
Do you answer the question?
Yes, I do.
And then what?
Sometimes it helps, but this one I can't get a clear sense. I need clarification on where do I stand in that whole process with my Holy Spirit.
It's very simple. The last thing that God is airy-fairy. God is not nebulous wisps of consciousness. God is very concretely expressed as creation. So, when you let go and let God, you will not become nebulous and wispy. You will not float through life. You will not be ungrounded. Because what are you letting go and letting God do? You're letting go, first of all, of your will. Why? So that you can find out what God's will is. Now let's take it out of a religious sort of context. When you let go of thinking and become still, what happens is that you can then begin to experience what you know, which is something far different, for the most part, from what you think. Connecting with what you know is to connect with that in you which is genuine, and that in you which is genuine is the presence of God. So when you shut up your thinking and dare to be still enough, long enough, to begin to make sense out of what is there in the emptiness of your thinking, in the absence of your thinking, you begin to feel more grounded and more connected, and what you find yourself knowing will lead you to act in concrete ways in the world. But because they're not based on your thinking, they're not based on your conditioning. And what you will find yourself acting upon will be what is in harmony with your fulfillment and the fulfillment of others around you. So you become a more dominant force for good in the world, you might say, not because you've decided you want to be that, excuse me, but because that's what naturally happens when you are connected with your knowing. Now, when you say, "Thy will be done, not mine," it means I am choosing not to rely upon my best judgment, my best thinking. I'm willing to be quiet enough to find out what I know at the very deepest levels of my being. Because what you know at the very deepest level of your being is what God is being right there. Now this is important because one ordinarily thinks, "Thy will be done," to a God somewhere else. But when you say, "Not my will, not my thinking," and you go into the quietness, the deepest quietness of yourself, and you find that you know things you didn't even know, you're finding God right in the middle of you. That's why when you say, "Thy will be done" in this fashion, it illuminates and enlarges your experience of your integrity, not as the thinker you thought you were, but as the being you are. And so you will do whatever works. You will do what needs to be done. You will do what's appropriate because you're in harmony with, well, you could say you're in harmony with God. And when you're in harmony with God, because God is all that is, you're going to find yourself being in harmony with your world. Or you're going to be able to find ways to be in harmony with your world even while others are distressed because you're being so irresponsible as not to see things the way they see them. But there will be a way that you will put others at ease because there's nothing threatening about you when you're not coming from your thinking and you're coming from your knowing. It's always thinking that's erratic, never your knowing. So you will be real and valuable in the world, and sometimes you won't take steps to find ways to generate income. And at other times you may take steps, but you know it won't be because you were afraid and you scrambled to save yourself. It's because you were quiet, unafraid, and knew what to do, not to save your ass, but because it was simply appropriate. And it turns out that it saves your ass. You see what I'm saying? So you will still act and you will still be. Paul is acting and being. You see. But I'll tell you something else. If his ego got in here and said, wow, you're really doing something important, and then he began to believe the thoughts, nothing worth anything would happen. So you don't be from the level of your knowing to accomplish something. You just be, and it's appropriate, and it blesses you and it blesses everyone. Because you're fitting in with the way things really work, instead of with the way you thought things worked. And the interesting thing is that for the most part you will fit in with the way, you will fit in with everyone else in spite of the fact that you're being with everyone else in a way that they don't think would work. So even though they don't have your perspective, it won't cause you to be an outcast.
Thank you.
I mean, Paul isn't sitting here with nothing on and with lightning bolts of bright colors, and you are not all sitting out under the trees in the middle of the rain being totally absurd. It still makes sense. It still appears to be reasonable. And yet that's just the way it works. It isn't the way it was designed. It isn't being done this way so it won't offend anyone. It's just the way fulfillment is appearing at the moment. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And my next question is more personal, I guess, and it's about
Hold the mic up.
my whole life I've had this kind of male-female thing going on, and I'm trying to understand if because I'm in a female body and I still have I was a tomboy when I was younger, and I still carry a certain masculinity with me. I'm wondering if I can, what am I here to do? Am I here to embrace the female in me because that's the body I came into? Should I have a baby to get the full experience? Or should I be wearing dresses? Or I know it sounds foolish, but it's a question that's plagued me pretty much my whole life. This whole thing about, was I a male before and I came in and I wanted to come in such a hurry that I took any body I could get, or I'm just not sure. So that's my question.
So the question is, so where do you fit?
Yeah.
What if you don't fit anywhere? And what if everyone else in the room who thinks they do fit doesn't fit anywhere either? What if they're wrong? And you're the closest to the truth.
That would be great.
Oh, the lengths that you all go to not offend someone else, which really means to be what doesn't make them uncomfortable. Well, you know what? God is making everyone uncomfortable. By being spontaneously and constantly original, and everyone who is feeling uncomfortable says, I'm not going to let your originality in because I prefer the way I am seeing things at the present time. And as a result, everyone is not seeing what God is being. They're seeing what they want to see, and that's called being asleep. And the whole reason we're talking today is about waking up. Letting go of our little tiny boxes that we've mentally placed ourselves in. Everyone is here to be, for lack of better words, unlike anyone else. To be the specific gift that God is being right there where you are. And it's time for everyone to stop saying, you ought to be this way, you ought to be that way, and dare to open up and just accept you as you are. In fact, you don't sit there as you are. You're not a way of being that's different from her way of being or Paul's way of being. You're the ever original presence of life. Whatever that means. And it's always going to mean something new. It's always going to be fresh. They asked, what's the reason we're together? And you're asking, in so many words, am I female or am I male? Well, heaven help you if you find out. You're not a definition. You are whatever is happening right there. You are whatever is happening right there. And the whatever that's happening right there will be even more glorious when it isn't colored by your thinking, and what it's being is arising out of the knowing that you feel in the tips of your toes. You know, it's a wonderful thing to have all these different cultures in your world, because the spectrum, the variety of the expression of originality is more apparent than it would be if there was just one culture. What a shame it would be if everyone let everyone else be different. What a wonderful texture of expression would be there for everyone to value and appreciate.
So if I could accept and love everyone else in that same way, then the reflection back to me would be that I would be accepted. Or does it even matter?
No, you can't bargain your way into acceptance. You got to accept yourself first and
Yeah.
just let it all hang out. And if one day you wear a dress, fine. And if the next day you wear your pants, is fine. And if one day you wear nothing, it's fine.
All right.
It doesn't make any difference.
Thank you.
Paul had an interesting experience. Early on in his experience with me, he had been having private conversations with people, mostly over the phone. And his experience of everyone was pretty much colored, you might say, by the way I was treating them, the way I was being with them. And when we had our very first gathering, and he met some of these people, he had a slight experience of shock because they were tall, short, thin, fat, old, young, and he had not been experiencing them in any of those definitions. So, none of you are males and females. None of you are tall or thin or short or fat or old or young. You're the presence of whatever is happening right there where you are. You're a happening. When you begin to look at it and give a definition, oh, I'm old, and then you add more definitions to that, well then, I'm old as opposed to young, and therefore I'm closer to not being at all. You confuse yourselves. Because there can be a broad spectrum of appearances, tall, thin, short, fat, young, old, and it has nothing to do with being alive or not being alive. Well, I got a little gray hair. Wonder what that means. Well, it's more interesting than a head of totally brown hair, and it actually looks a little good. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't mean anything. And you can be 1,000 years old with gray hair or brown hair, thin or fat. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't define you. And when you stop using definitions as a measuring stick, then your definitions of yourself will not measure you and give you beginnings and ends.
Thank you, that helped.
All of these things are your infrastructure, not yours, all of you. All of your definitions and thoughts and reasonings provide the infrastructure that constitute your prisons. And scare you to death. We will take a break. Okay. And here.
Thank you. I'm at a crossroads in my life, and I'm about to make a huge transition, and I'm feeling very supported in many ways. And it feels like I'm going to be leaving the area that I've been living for many years and moving to Portland. And it's a radical change for me. It feels like
Is it change that is radical, or this change that is radical?
it's this change. It feels like this change is radical in a way, and yet I don't feel a whole lot of emotion about it because it feels so right. It feels like there's something in it that's going to allow me to be more real.
Excuse me just a moment.
Yes.
Let's stop for just a moment. Okay.
All right, I'll just cut to the chase. Is it right for me? Does it fulfill purpose for me to move to Portland? And if so, I've never owned a home in my life. Is it time for me? Can I buy a home or a condo, or do I rent? What happens with my business? How will I support myself? Will I be doing something brand new or what? Is that too much?
The move is appropriate. Look at purchasing a house and continue with the business you're in. And enjoy the process.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Hands. In the back.
Thank you for calling on me. With what we've talked about today, about allowing ourselves to be changed, I feel like that's what's been going on with me. But I don't really know where to fit in terms of work and generating income and being with others in a meaningful way, all of which I desire to do. I don't feel like I'm doing it from a, as you said, saving your ass kind of feeling. So I need some direction about that, please.
The direction I'm going to give you is no direction at all. I'm not going to give you a goal to achieve, because truly the answer lies in allowing what fulfills purpose to unfold, and allowing it with curiosity and willingness to stand in receipt, but without impatience. I add that not because you are impatient, but because it's essential for that to remain in the picture. Existence is fulfillment. So, if there doesn't seem to be fulfillment, it isn't that you're experiencing a state of existence that's all right, or that will continue indefinitely. If fulfillment is the state of existence, then be curious to see it manifest. The key is, let it manifest on God's terms. Because that's what's truly going to be fulfilling for you. Things are perfect right now in your life. They really are. And I expect that perfection to continue